right, my people of faith, let's take another walk. Let's talk about the invisible versus the visible, or faith versus fear. Excuse me. Faith is based upon the invisible, things that can't be seen to the natural eye. Fear is based upon the visual, which you actually can see with the natural eye, or detect with the five senses. Let's say if a person loses their physical sight, other senses become heightened. This levels out, I guess, the insufficiency in one area that the other area picks up and carry. But in the faith realm, it doesn't work that way. Your foresight, or your actual sight, which is not by anything that is actually there. When you speak, things appear. This is how faith works. So there's an invisible supply all around us in the faith world because we're spirit. The moment that we think that we're our body, we will respond accordingly. We will have to obey the laws of the body, the knowledge of it, etc. But when we go into the spirit, the laws are a little differently. Or well, not a little, they are extremely different. The laws of the spirit is the measure of faith. What is the measure of faith? It's the measure of belief. Well, how can you believe in something you can't see? That's the measure of faith. Something that's not, but though that it is. Let's say, hypothetically, a person has the common cold. How do you know that you have the common cold? You get symptoms. The symptoms is the visual or the physical sight to let the soul knows that, hey, you are in discomfort or dis-ease, or there's something there that shouldn't be there. There's something there that's disruptive to the actual flow of how the body is designed. So for what would we have to do to get rid of something that is considered to be invisible? Right? You would have to treat it with something that is actually visible or invisible. You would treat it with something that's invisible. It's called your self-belief. You take let's say for the person who takes the pharmaceutical drug, which is hallucinogen, is to tell the mind that you actually see something that you don't see. It tells the mind that you actually are being healed. But the actual true healing comes from the individual soul of belief. So what the soul does, since the soul is in fear, it's not flowing functionally in its proper function, functionally in the way that it should. What the hallucinogen drug does, it tells the soul you can come out of hiding. So the soul is no longer in fear. So the soul takes back over its actual throne, which is to say, we're going to flow in a proper way. So this is when the body starts to recover. It's when the soul can believe again, or there's hope inside the body. This is what we would call life. So what makes fear so in opposition to faith, it comes to steal that, so death can come in. If there's no faith, if there's no hope, if there's none of these things, there's only fear there, right? And when fear there, it's going to spread like a wildfire, and it's going to ultimately provoke the soul to go towards the wages of sin, which is the wages of sin is to serve fear, which is ultimately is serving death. So the things that we see are based upon things that we don't see. So if the doctor tells you that, hey, you have this uncurable disease, you tell the doctor, then why am I healed? What the doctor said by the charts and our by our x-rays, or by our determination through what we tested, you know you're actually, this is where it's at. But then why am I healed? Now the doctor would think that you're mocking their understanding or mocking their profession, but you're actually not. What you're doing is actually seeing something that doesn't exist. But it actually does exist. It just doesn't exist to the physical yet. So this is not 20 years or 5 years down the road that you have to believe for something. It's instantly. The moment that your belief can see it, that yourself being healed is the moment that you actually are cured. But more than likely, when it comes to the term of belief, we haven't built up the faith enough to actually get past the fear. So here comes the trial. Here comes the affliction. We're gonna fall to the fear. We're gonna serve the fear because we haven't built up any faith. We ran from countless opportunities to build up faith. And all it is just to believe something, that to believe the better versus the worse. Any act of consider bravery was through the act of faith. How you have to see yourself victorious to be victorious. And I don't mean victorious in the way that you're going to use your faith for evil. If you put it inside something that's evil, you're going to produce that. You're going to reproduce that, I should say. And it's simple as that. But if you put your faith inside something that is eternal, such as Jesus, or love or joy, you're going to continuously to reap something that's eternally of good. But if you put your faith inside being dishonest, or being inside a manipulation, or whatever, you're going to reap that. It's like walking around with a hole in your pocket. And on the reverse effect, if you put it inside something that's honest, if you put it inside something that is pure, of good, you walk around with a filled pocket where it flows over versus no hole in it. All right, my people of faith, once again, you are the blessing. Be blessed. Be the blessing. Let's keep walking.